Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here.
And I am Amy Rose here, and we are back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. In some cases, I hate this game so much, for the Nintendo Wii U, and only for the Wii U. So, last time, we've essentially did manage to explore into Lyric's weapon facility by able to retrieving the map, so that way we can now able to actually access to the map, not just because of how the fact that you can able to see what our next objective we can able to go into, but also if you couldn't tell, you can able to actually revisit certain stages that you've already experienced before. Like, for instance, if we're about to try to aim for 100% completion, obviously that was about the fact that you can able to replay levels, while at the same time that was about the fact I get the strong sense of feeling you still have to able to actually watch certain cutscenes, but thankfully though you can able to actually skip them, so that seems to be a cool thing in my book. So anyway, today for this video is about the fact that we're about to continue things on and hit on to the next location. So, and as you can tell right there, if you come towards that particular little glowing thing right there, this allows us to able to actually upgrade ourselves with this specific movesets or anything else to be more specific. So, but here's the catch though, is about the fact that in order to able to actually upgrade those specific status, as you can tell, not only does it show us about the fact that how much scrap metal we're going to be using, but it's also about the fact that this is what the crown system comes into play, that basically the more you're trying to get certain crowns, depending on what stages you're able to explore into, basically you can able to actually upgrade those specific skills, so that way you can able to actually become a lot more stronger, and in some cases though, a little bit too powerful for circumstances anyway. And there's also the addition upgrade, which appears to be by the forms of those money bags, but here's the catch though, is about the fact that you do need to acquire a game called Sonic Boom Shadow Crystal that allows us to able to actually connect between both the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS. So that way you can able to actually upgrade your rings capacity up to 200 rings, so that's more than double than the forms of how it does so for the actual 100 rings maximum capacity if you do manage to able to start the game off at first glance. So because of that though, yeah, we were trying to able to actually upgrade our rings capacity, but unfortunately though, we've come across into a technical issue, like specifically with this connection problems, but hopefully we'll try to sort this out until to be more specifically later on in this month, but then again, we'll have to wait and see. So
yeah, so just in case, it will make the entire game a lot more extremely easier than anything else potentially. So
yeah, anyways, a few things we want to talk about is about the fact that, well, today's date, of course, there is the 8th of June today, in some cases in 2024 today. Now, originally, we tried to able to explain about the forms of some game announcements, as well as game reveals, thanks to the forms of the Summer Game Fest recently. Well, truth be told, though, we'll pretty much have to save that particular topic until either tomorrow or Monday, depending on the forms of how the fact that what we're going to be doing. Like, for instance, still playing through Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, because currently, at this point in time, is about the fact that not only I'm still playing on the Switch remake, it's able to actually work on the forms of the Trouble Centers, and in addition with the forms of some, recipes, grinding, and because of that though, I just really wanted able to achieve the 100% completion on the Switch remake. And speaking of which though, is about the fact that recently, for I've noticed something, is about the fact that recently, I've decided able to actually come back on playing Crash Team Racing Nitro Field recently for the Nintendo Switch, and good news folks, not only did I somehow unlock one character, but two other unlockable characters thanks to the forms of the Pit Shop. And two of those characters I'm referring to as Mega Mix from the likes of Crash Bandicoot The Huge Adventure, also known as Crash Bandicoot XS, or in some cases, well, you probably get the idea from somewhere else, but either way, for that particular joke anyway. So either way though, and in addition to that, we somehow also unlocked Tawna, so yeah, I'm very appreciative about the fact that not only we've unlocked Mega Mix, but also Tawna Bandicoot as well. So potentially speaking, I was about the fact that I was really looking forward to able to actually playing those two characters, and mind you about the fact that after a while, I was able to actually decide able to actually start playing the game for a while, Clearly because no matter what though is about the fact that, well, do you guys even remember, since in Journey Falls Event yesterday, that we did somehow questioning about the fact that we were expecting to see, the overview trailer for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD? Well, actually, as it turns out, is about the fact that it already became true ever since about a couple of days ago, since, I would say, on the 6th of June sometime. So because of that though, just showing us the forms of how the game actually it looks like, for the likes of not only for single player mode, but it's also with the forms of the multiplayer aspect as well. And as far as I'm aware, for what I've looked upon the forms of the overview trailer itself, I don't think there's going to be anything new, additional stuff they've been added. Like, for instance, about the fact that much like the forms of how it does it in Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door Switch Remake, that they don't support Amiibo. So because of that though, actually kind of think about it though, is about the fact I get the feeling that Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS is the only Luigi's Mansion game to able to actually support Amiibo. So because of that, unlike in Luigi's Mansion 2 for the 3DS, because obviously though Amiibos didn't exist until 2014, that is, and meanwhile for the Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch, that also does not have Amiibo functionality, and now we have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, that particular version of the game also does not support Amiibo. So it feels like about the fact that the Amiibo functionality, or specifically Amiibo support, is no longer going to be continuing for some specific games, I'm sure enough. So either way though, again, pretty difficult to tell, but I know for a fact that for certain, for one thing, is about the fact that I'm pretty sure that we've only got about exactly 19 more days to go until Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is going to be releasing, and meanwhile, in terms of the forms of Super Monkey Ball, Banana Rumble of any sort, I believe we've only got about, let's just say, 17 more days to go, until specifically that game is going to be releasing, because as far as I'm aware, like I said this before, that we're now on the 8th of June right now, so potentially speaking of is about the fact that hopefully we're also able to hear more about the forms of tomorrow's events, which there are, Xbox Games Showcase, and in addition to that, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 reveal is going to be revealed at some point until tomorrow. So because of that though, yeah, nothing else we can really say about it, apart from the fact that, as you can tell, we've now inserted the next Chaos Crystal for that particular podium thing right there, and that way we can now able to actually access the next area. So because of that though, yeah, it looks rather barren, if you couldn't tell already, and generally speaking, I was about the fact that what I thought was a little bit, amusing about this is about the fact that if for those of you probably wondering, this is by far the shortest video we've ever done so far, for the sake of the forms of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric so far. Clearly because no matter what though, we attempt able to try to only show off one of those specific locations per video, or in some cases we're only going to be focusing on one stage per video, so just in case we don't able to actually decide able to actually interrupt our progress by not only just trying to able to actually just to do other scenarios, but it's also about the fact that with other stuff in general. So because of that, yeah, because obviously that is about the fact that, well, as far as what's, like we've already established that before, including Tiana as well, that basically that was about the fact that there aren't any weekend Let's Plays for now on, so because of that though, as we established that before, we're only going to be focusing on 2 Let's Plays for now, so just in case we can able to actually get these games done and over with, before we move on to the next bunch of Let's Plays in the future, for 2024 anyway, so, yeah, that's besides the point, Amy, that's besides the point, so, but, anyway, there's also another thing I want to point out as well, I guess, is that I get the feeling, actually, is about the fact that it looks like no matter what, though, that Sega, as the actual company itself, is now 64 years old, which, technically, the reason why I say this is because the company itself, Sega, was found during that some time in 1960, specifically June 3rd. So, yeah, it seems kind of crazy to able to actually believe about that, especially concerning for a fact that, well, suffice to say, better late than never, I suppose, happy 64th anniversary of the Sega company as far as the company itself goes. So, and it still makes a lot of games from time to time, to be more specifically when it comes to the forms of some current ones right now, ranging from, you know, Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, which is just almost around the corner, and on top of that with the forms of Sonic Crush Shadow Generations, and much more in the future. So because of that though, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more relative at this point. So anyway, so as you can see about the fact that before we're able to actually move on to the next location, or specifically the next level actually, is that, as you can tell, we need to able to actually defeat all kinds of enemies around here. So just to ensure for the fact that we always have to look on the forms of that particular arrows as where it tells you where you're supposed to go. And that way we need to able to deal with more enemy encounters. So that's going to be a joy. Not. So anyway, speaking of which, in regards of the forms of joy related, that it feels like no matter what though, we've already got ourselves some more clips has been revealed for the sake of Inside Out 2 already. Although, mind you, we're probably not going to mention any spoilers for the time being, so just in case about the fact that we're not going to go into any further details just before the actual film comes out. So I believe we've already got about 6 more days to go, actually, until that film decides able to come out in, you know, the big screen. So because of that, though, still I'm basically excited for it after that particular massive downfall for the sake of the films of how Pixar was doing for the past few months or years after that particular pandemic year, especially concerning for the fact that obviously though back in June films have been 2020 and onwards, that 3 films are usually becomes exclusive onto Disney Plus, which there are Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, because obviously that was about the fact that the actual box office performance didn't go too well, especially concerning for the fact that, well, again, it's definitely a missed opportunity to able to actually bring those 3 films back onto the big screen, and no matter what though, it's about the fact that, well, it might be seems a little bit overly redundant, because obviously though that, as I said before, those 3 films in general were exclusive to Disney Plus for some time, but it wasn't until in later on in 2022 that we somehow got Lightyear, and as a result, that particular film just performed pretty badly when it comes to box office ownings, especially concerning for the fact that it did pretty decently for the sake of reviews alike, despite the fact that, my god, the actual plot twist villain is pretty stupid if you ask me. Especially concerning for the fact that it does also involves around the time travel aspect. I mean, my goodness, what is going on with the forms of this messed up timeline? It involves around with the forms of the actual time travel, like it's so messed up.
Yeah, I was gonna be thinking about the same thing, because after all, about the fact that every once in a while, for certain stories based off from specific series, like for instance, we've actually got ourselves the time travel plot element in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but at the very least though, it's about the fact that it's kind of interesting to know about the fact that how come Starlight Glimmer did somehow want revenge against with the forms of Twilight Sparkle and stuff like that. Well, mind you, Amy, is about the fact that it's been a very long while since I actually have last seen the show for that particular point worth noting for, mainly because no matter what though, it's about the fact that I'm still basically excited about the forms of Inside Out 2 still. So anyway, oh, and speaking of Inside Out 2, as far as I'm concerned, that it looks like about the fact no matter what though, when it comes to the forms of Disney Speedstorm, is that it looks like we're about to be getting some more racers at some point in during the forms of in the 8th season for the likes of Disney Speedstorm. And those 2 characters in questioning are Joy and Sadness are the only 2 drivers that's going to be joining in when it comes to the next season of Disney Speedstorm. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting, and it also makes sense to able to actually mark the celebration of the release of course, Inside Out 2. So it makes sense to able to actually get ourselves the actual context with anything else. So, but anyway, so that pretty much does it from there, and it looks like we somehow managed able to take care of the rest of these enemies now, and now we can able to actually hop into this particular boat, where basically though is about the fact that we can able to actually now go into the next location, which appears to be the pit. But before we dive right into the pit itself, we have to go for a small level, which as a result we have to force able to catch a ride with this particular
raft boat. And let me tell you right from the start though, this is where the problems truly began, when it comes to forms of level gimmicks such as these. So, for instance, it's about the fact that as soon as when the stage is actually loading up, basically though it's about the fact that we are basically take control of the boat itself, and usually, relatively speaking though, if you think this particular section is self-explanatory, right? Well, as it turns out, no matter what though, the controls on this particular raft boat thing is a massive cluster mess. Like, for instance, in order to move around, obviously you still have to use the left stick in order to actually maneuver your altitude or something like that. But in order to try to fire some more ammo, or in some cases infinite amount of ammo with the specific elements ranging from fire, water, and ice element projectiles. And basically though is about the fact that you can to actually change those elements by simply pressing the L button or the R button if you want so much more desires. But here's the thing though, in order to actually activate the forms of that particular fire mechanism, basically though you have to use the right analog stick in order to make this work. And let me tell you, it's so finicky, and on top of that, it's another one of those bad design choices. So because of that though, I was assuming if we can to actually use the A button, or the B button for that matter, to make things a little bit more interesting, or even the Y button for specific compulsory or something. But no, we have to use the right analog stick in order to actually aim at multiple directions, and it still looks incredibly finicky. And no matter what though, it's just about the fact that thankfully though, this stage doesn't take that long to complete, and not to mention though, it's about the fact that if you couldn't tell, there aren't any collectibles to be found in this particular stage. Yeah, but it's just all the matter of the fact that we have to make our way from point A to point B, and at the same time though, we have to deal with some even more combat here and there. And no matter what though, is about the fact that we need to take care of the forms of those specific turrets, as you can tell, or specifically with all these weird obstacles that we do need to deal with. So, anyway, so aside from all that stuff though, like I said before, this video is going to be really short, just because, like I said before, we will try our best if we're able to actually mention about a lot of stuff and during at some point until tomorrow, because obviously though, like we said this before, that we seriously cannot wait to actually just to talk about more details about the forms of how we got some more information upon, not only with Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, but there's also much more to come. So, but either way though, but then again, we'll shall see what happens. So, but anyway, and as far as I'm aware, is about the fact I'm pretty sure once you're able to take control of this raft boat, that it feels like that Knuckles is the only one who's going to be able to deal with the steering, whilst meanwhile for Sonic, in some cases myself, I believe I'm only going to be able to be firing the forms of, I don't know, water or something, or in some cases with Tails, I'm pretty sure it's like, I don't know, ice or something. Mind you, I couldn't pay attention to the actual specific fire mechanism just because I just wanted to try to dodge as many of those things as possible. Oh, and every once in a while, Eggman decides to actually try to stop us for some odd reason. So despite the fact that we can't to actually deal with Eggman just yet, and of course we have to dodge a lot of mine bombs, or yeah, you probably get the idea for this point. So either way though, again, there's nothing else we can really say about it. It's just about the fact that this particular section is just not only is claustrophobic, but it's also about the fact that the controls are terrible in this particular section. So because of that though, yeah, and I believe I get the horrible feeling about the fact that if we do mess up at one point, that if you run out of all of those rings, I'm pretty sure you have to start all the way to the beginning. I'm really hoping it doesn't. So because of that, although so far Sonic, we're actually not doing too bad as far as this is concerned, but I get the strong feeling, Amy, about the fact that this might be the last section for this level, so yeah, there's nothing else we can really say about it. So either way though, I'm pretty sure this level is actually called River Rush, I'm pretty sure. Well, I may be wrong, but then again, we'll find out more about it until whatever we get to on tomorrow or Monday, depending on the forms of certain stimulations. So, I guess, with all that being said, folks, there's nothing else we could really speak about it. I mean, it's just about the fact that this level it's pretty boring. Oh, no. There's more? Oh, jeez, it never ends, doesn't it? Yep, especially noticeable about the fact that pretty much summed up as the forms of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric as it is. Not only is incredibly boring, but it's also incredibly repetitive. So, Yeah, that's besides the point. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and deal with this last batch of these specific missile turrets right there, and that pretty much does it. And how come we've almost got sunk into this? So with that being said, folks, is that we got endings of this point right here, so join us next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Boom, Rise of Loic, is that we got able to actually get on to the next level, which appears to be the pits. So, yeah, we'll see you guys enjoying at some point after dodging a lot of Eggman's attacks, so we'll see you guys until the next day.
Gotcha now. Wait, no. Excuse me, your scaliness. I've got good news and bad news.
You don't seem to be holding a map.
And now that we've got the bad news out of the way, the good news is I killed our mortal enemy, Sonic, and his stupid friends.
I expected you to fail. Doesn't matter. My Drillo worms are hard at work searching for crystals. We'll have the first one soon.